Hello! Welcome. I am 2 minutes late. Apologies. I was getting set up with my new camera holding thing. Welcome to another live reading. I'm Luke Daniels, your host. This is my studio. It's small and it smells like me. So I hope you can join us. I'm using a horizontal view today. I don't know if people like that. Hi, Candace. Thank you for joining us. Hi, Bethany. You're always here. I appreciate you. And Andrea, hello. Now we do the hair check. Good deal. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for tuning in tonight. We've got another live reading. This one from an urban fantasy that I'm very excited to bring to you by an author that I'm new to named Hunter Blain. Hello, Joanna. Anxiously awaiting. I know I was late. I apologize. Andrea, how are you? We have Andrea Vaughn watching, who is an author in her own right with her husband, William Vaughn. And if you're in the Orlando area on Saturday, we're going to be at Gods and Monsters, so you should come there and see us do a reading. Actually, live, not Facebook Live. So, thank you for joining us. Hi, Tierney. Tori, hello. Hi. I'm going to keep messing with this because I'm OCD. That looks pretty good. All right, so tonight's reading is from Hunter Blain. It's an urban fantasy vampire, awesome book. We released the first one, which is it's like a novella, and it kind of gives you some background. That one's called Deliverance. You can order it now. It's available on anywhere you get your hot audiobook scoops. And then the very first book that's a full book in its own right is the one we're going to read a bit from tonight, called I'm Glad You're Dead. I know, great title, right? And so we're going to read a section. There's no spoilers, but it isn't the beginning. It just kind of gives you an idea of these characters. And hello, Amy. Hi, Melissa. I miss you, Melissa. I hope you're well. And Hunter's on, our author. Everybody give a round of applause for our author, Hunter Blain. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for writing these words, and thank you for letting me say them, and thank you for listening, everybody. So I'm happy to see you guys, too. Hi, Ada. All right, very good. So, Hunt for Seawolf 4, that's what we did last week. If you watched last week, we had one around this time, and that was by Dietmar Ver. He's a great author. Sorry, I'm being weird. I want it perfect. There we go. This is my mic. It's a SE4400A. And then this is called a pop filter, so that when I spit, it goes there. And when I hit things like plosives, like people and appropriate, it doesn't blast the mic out. So, all right, here we go. Paul, hello. Thanks for watching. Ed, thanks for watching. We're going to start out here with, all right, I'm going to give you a little backstory. Cheers, by the way. Our main character, John, is a vampire, and his best friend, Depweg, is a werewolf. And John, as a vampire, has to drink blood, and so he tries to drink blood from bad people instead of drinking the good people's blood. So he's sympathetic, but he's still going out on the hunt. But the problem is tonight he lost his legs, and now he's trying to regenerate them. And so it takes a while for him to grow in, so they're kind of small. If you saw Deadpool, it's kind of like that. His legs are real tiny, all right? But he still needs blood, so he's going out. So here we go. Is everybody ready? Depweg's watching along. Oh boy, I hope I do him justice. All right. Here we go. Pull down this street and slow down, I told Depweg. He did so with a wrinkle in his brow, compliant but confused. I need to eat, I informed him, pulling my legs up with my hands and wiggling my baby toes. This is one of my favorite parts of town. I call it the old fishing hole. We crossed an intersection with a group of savory characters standing around a car listening to loud, verbally suggestive music. Pull over here and turn on your emergency lights. Depweg did, trusting me. Pop your hood, and for Lilith's sake, stay in the car. You'll scare the fishies." I got out of the Jeep and wobbled adorably to the front, cringing as my ancient duster dragged on the ground behind me. Climbing up on the bumper and lifting the hood, I stared at the engine and cursed. "Aw, jeez," I said loudly. "The gosh darn flux capacitor is busted." I normally wore a reflective Movado watch made of tungsten when I fished, showing it off by keeping one hand on the hood and letting the sleeve of my duster slide down. Since this had been an impromptu hunt, I'd left it at home in my hopefully not flooded dresser. Fishies loved shiny things. Instead, I pulled out my wallet and fanned out my cash and asked loudly, "How much is it for a tow truck?" The fishies, who had been pointing and laughing at my nubs, stopped talking. I reached out with my senses and could feel them behind me. One had been sitting on the car, but now was standing up looking around at his friends to make sure they were all on the same page. "That's it," I whispered. "Come to Mommy. Daddy." "Heard that," Depweg stated from the driver's seat. "Shit," was my only response. "Yep," he said while audibly unlocking his cell phone, uninterested in the outstanding citizens approaching from behind. With my back to the gentleman, I let my wallet fall to the ground and loudly cried out, "Oh noes! My wallet full of monies! Can anyone help me?" "Say, homie," said one in perfect elocution, "I think I can help with that." He bent over to scoop up my wallet. A smile spread across my face, and then I let it drop to feign sorrow. I dropped to the ground and turned to face them. I reached out my hand, palm up, giving him the chance to return the wallet. He smiled at me instead and asked, "What else you got, McNubbins?" The irony was not lost on me with that comment. In a sheepish voice, I said, "No, nothing, sirs. I just need my wallet for my grandma's operation." My hand was still outstretched. The thug pulled out my cash and pocketed it, handing me back my wallet and saying, "Here you go, fool," as requested. His posse had laughed and spread out, surrounding me. There were 5 of them. The leader had a bald head with tattoos on his face and neck. He wore a white hoodie and Adidas athletic pants. The others had on various clothes that had clearly been bought at the same shop or taken from someone's house. Tattoos were prominent, as were gold necklaces. I was somewhat impressed that the races were mixed. Progress, I thought to myself. One of the blood jugs reached down and seized my arms from behind, while another kneeled down and started riffling through my clothes. A toothy, predatory smile crossed my face, and I headbutted the fool in front of me, sending an eruption of blood in all directions around his nose. His hands reached up to grasp his broken smeller, and the other gents pulled out switchblades. Except the leader. He pulled out a Springfield 1911 and pointed it directly at me. "Can we hurry this up, John?" Depweg asked from the driver's seat, followed by laughter and the sound of the like button being pressed. "Puppy's playing with the tennis ball," so he said to himself while chuckling. "That ball's too big for you, fella." 2 of the thugs went around the side of the car, one on each side, knives ready. My arm shot forward, breaking the fingers of the punk that had been holding me from behind. He inhaled sharply as he held his fingers in front of his face. His eyes were the size of cue balls. Turning to him, I tilted his head to one side with the finger, and then pretended to put a napkin in my shirt while licking my lips. I could sense the leader behind me, frozen in surprise, still holding the gun on me. Whispering in the tax-paying citizen's ear, I said, "Now this may sting a tad," and bit into his neck, letting the blood flow from him to me. My nerves were alight with renewed energy, and my legs started healing. The bruised feeling over my body withered and was replaced by strength and energy. The big gulp started sinking to the ground, weak in the knees, and I started to rise, growing at the knees. His eyes rolled back into his head and his cheeks became sunken. I let him drop, lifeless, to the ground, skin matching the color of his wife-beater. I stood on brand spanking new legs and turned to the leader, who was rubbing his eyes, muttering, "It's a bad trip, man, a bad trip." His gun barked as I stepped toward him, his free hand unironically clutching a crucifix that hung from a gold chain around his neck. My acting classes paid off as I did my best Bugs Bunny impersonation of when he was shot. I made ooh and ah, low battery, ooh and ah noises while stumbling around jerkily, my face contorted in hilariously dramatic poses. "Get out of the car now!" one of the men barked at the werewolf. "It's a Jeep, not a car," Depwig said as I heard the door open. "Stop playing around," Depwig commanded as one of the goons flew toward the front of the Jeep, landing next to the leader. Confident footsteps walked around the back of the vehicle and approached the remaining moron. This was followed by a shaky voice screaming a machine gun succession of no's that were interlaced with the growing epiphany that a mistake had been made. His body flew onto the street in front of where I stood. Shocks protested as Depwig walked around the back of the Jeep. Taking my cue, I grabbed the leader and pulled him close with one hand. With the other, I plucked the cheap gold-plated cross from his chain and brought it up to his bulging eyes, where it was crushed between forefinger and thumb. By reflex alone, he kept the gun pointed at my chest, barking until empty. Even as I drained him, the clicking sound could be heard as the trigger was squeezed repeatedly. The clicking slowed and eventually stopped, along with his heart. I let him drop and finished off the other two morsels with my blood whips, draining them completely before climbing back into the Jeep with Depwig. "Feeling better?" Depwig asked. "Oh, man, I am stuffed to the rafters," I claimed, rubbing my stomach with enthusiasm. "Did you have to scare 'em so bad with the cross?" Depwig asked, only half accusingly. "First, how the hell did you see that? And second, yes. He clearly wasn't the churchgoer he pretended to be. Otherwise, he wouldn't be in his current predicament, now would he?" Depwig pointed forward, and I followed his finger to the hood, which was still up. At the bottom, I could see the gap that had allowed Depwig to view my theatrical performance. "Oh, sorry about that. Didn't think you'd see me go all anti-hero on him." "Not that," Depwig started. "The hood. Close it." "Right, the hood," I said as I slid out of the passenger seat and walked to the front, slamming the hood down. As I got back in, Depwig looked at me and said, "They deserved their fate. They made the bed, now they sleep in it." As he finished, he looked forward and started the Jeep up, continuing on our journey. As if to further cement his approval, Depwig broke the silence and said, "Well, I see you got your shoe holders back," while nodding at my legs. Taking a lifeline, I said, "To the shoe store!" while pointing forward, relieved to have him on my side. Depwig smiled. We were on our way back to his cabin in the woods. Woo! Thanks, everybody. So that's from I'm Glad You're Dead by Hunter Blain. It's available now. You can also get the novella Deliverance. And then we'll be producing the next two in the series over the next couple months. So these will be things you can kind of listen to and then have more to expect and be excited for. So thank you. Woot! Thank you, Hunter, for coming up with this great story. There's a great little prologue at the beginning that gives you an idea where he came with it from, and it's really cool. And there's a whole bunch more shenanigans planned. It's very fun. It's very funny, action-oriented, but really great character, story, and dialogue, which are all my favorite things. So I appreciate it. Shoe holders and McNubbins. Very, very good. S. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Nathan. Thank you, Shelly. Good to see you guys tuning in. Today, we finish this up, and then tomorrow I'll fly to Florida, and Saturday at 5 p.m. at Gods and Monsters, I'll be doing a reading live. And then in April 18th, I believe, I'll be in Anaheim at the Fantasy Fest there. And I'll be doing a reading live with Nick Padell, who's a fantastic, if you know, In the Name of the Wind, and he's just done a ton of fantasy and sci-fi stuff. He's great too. So we'll do a reading together in Anaheim. And then as of right now, I'll be in Iowa City, which I'm excited about in the fall. But we're hoping to add a few more dates and do some stuff so I can come out and see everybody in person, because it's so great how you tune in, you know, to watch these things. But I'd like to actually see you in the flesh and say hi, and, you know, we can have fun that way too. So, thank you so much. Hi. Hello, Gary. Rachel. Texas is one of the ones planned, Rachel. We're thinking about either Austin or Dallas. Houston, I did a signing at Murder by the Book, I think it's called, in Houston. Is that right? It's a really great store and had a good signing there. So we'll see. Throw out suggestions, and then I'm trying to combine them with conventions and stuff, because that's a good way to get the most access to everybody. So we'll set something up. All right? Thank you guys for tuning in. Go and buy I'm Glad You're Dead by Hunter Blain on Audible, Amazon, iTunes, any place that you can get audiobooks. And I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you have a great rest of your week and weekend. All right, all. Mwah. Keep listening.